This conference will now be recorded.
All right. So, starting the meeting is 12:03, and I will, let's see, I've got a couple people joining. I've got the callers written down, so I'm going to go ahead and go through my roll call, and if anybody else joins at the end, then we will add them. Shelley Entrikin.
Here.
Barb Long. Doug Manick. Audra Miles. Joe Coffin. Craig Boynton.
Here.
Hannah Fuchs. David Luters. Mary Patton.
Here.
Shamar Robinson. Tracy Dowell. See you on there, Tracy, so I'm going to mark you as present. J. Thomas Howes. Sierra Smith.
Here.
Excellent. Max Schneider. Tyler Rogers. Sean Griffin.
Here.
Tracy, I see your message. Got it. Don Harper.
Here.
Jody Scott. Angel Marinich.
Here.
Renee Razzo. Oh, I see, Jody, you just joined. I'll mark you as here. Chris Mitchell. Don Rulis. And Greg Cass.
Here.
All right, we're just shy of a quorum, but that's all right. We'll keep an eye if anybody else joins. And I see Audrey Barrett is also here, so I've got you down. Did anyone join and I did not say their name? Okay, yep, I think I got everyone. Thanks for coming in. Moving on to public comment. Does anyone have public comment? No? All right, so the next item is the approval of the minutes. We don't have a quorum quite yet today, but does anyone have any comments about the minutes? All right, that's fine. So we will table that until somebody joins today or just the next meeting. That's okay. All right. So moving on to provider and agency updates. Why don't let's start from the bottom this time because Greg is with us in the room. So if you could, I know we do have, I think, one new person. So just everyone kind of introduce yourself briefly, say your name and your organization, and then give your report if you have one.
Greg Cassidy from TCRC. TCRC and Sean, who's here as well, the We Care merge with TCRC. We're a year in. Appears to be going well. We've made some adjustments to salaries that has filled some gaps, and we've ordered, we're in the process of getting the TripMaster software that Sean will be working on getting drivers and the dispatch up and going with. So we're continuing on the right path. We're also in discussions with some of the other local communities on how we may expand transportation in the future.
Thank you. Moving on, next person I have is Angel. You could give a report if you have one.
Hi, Angel Marinich with TransDev, provider County Link and CityLift. Nothing dramatic to report, but we are finally getting to the point where we have, I hate to use this word, enough drivers. If everyone is here every day that they're supposed to be, we do pretty well. Our on-time performance is better than it's ever been. We are pretty consistent at about 95% on time, and certainly everything over 90%. Month of July, we only had 2 days under 90%, and that was 89. So I'm very excited about that. I think not only is it having the right amount of drivers, but the dispatchers have really been picking up and trying even harder to learn the software and to finding little tips and tricks in it. We have 3 brand new dispatchers, which is really, really wonderful. They are really good and they really care. So we're really pleased with how that's turning around. And other than that, we are still recruiting. I still would love to have at least 4 or 5 more drivers just to take care of everything. We started yesterday the service in Washington. That's the 6-month pilot program. We only had 1 rider going to dialysis, but I think we'll have a few more starting next week. And we'll just take it as it comes and see where we go. And that's about it.
All right, sounds great. And next one, going up my list, I've got Jody Scott. Let's see, you are on mute. Jody, do you have any report for us? All right, well, we'll move on. Next one I have is Dawn Harper of Epic. If you could just give a really short introduction to as well.
Dawn Harper with Epic. Nothing really to report, just dealing with the day-to-day transportation needs.
All right, sounds great. Next, I have Sean Griffin with WeCare.
Yes, I think Greg Cassidy had pretty much gone over everything that we have been doing recently.
All right, very nice. Moving on to Sierra Smith with the Tazewell County Board. Do you have any updates with us today?
No updates.
Okay, thank you. And next on my list is Tracy Dowell with MSW Project. And if you don't have a mic, you can type in the chat and I can read it afterward as well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, nothing really different right now. Just staying busy. We have our drivers that we need and just waiting for the next year to get going.
So next up, I've got Mary Patton with AARP.
Nothing to report. We're still working on federal issues. We've on prescription drugs, and it's never ending. We're also working on the state level on nursing homes. There's always something going on about that, and I think that's about all.
All right, I'm just responding in the chat here. Okay, thank you, Mary. Moving up to Craig Boynton with Galesburg.
Good afternoon. We have successfully now been able to hire 2 new mechanics to replace 2 mechanics that we had leave in April and May. So we're actually getting caught up on some repairs, which is nice. Our lead mechanic is very happy. We will be implementing a phone app for MassTrack for tracking our fixed route bus system in the near future. So we're excited to roll that out. We still have a couple of little quirks that we want to work out before we push it out. And then we have submitted a total of 9 requests on the most recent round of the funding for grants.
All right. Next, I've got Audra Miles. I saw you joined recently. Do you have any updates?
No updates. Thank you.
All right. And lastly, I have Shelly Entrican with FCRT. Anything to share?
No new updates. We got our trip master up and going, kind of working out kinks there, but and of course the same old story, short on drivers like everybody else. So nothing else.
Thank you. See, we've got a new caller. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
There we go. All right. Jody, if you've got anything to share, we're on the update section.
No, I do not.
All right, sounds great. So we're done with that, and actually we do now have a quorum. So we're going to go back up to agenda item 3, the approval of the June 7, 2022 minutes. I'll ask just one more time. Does anyone have any comments about the minutes? All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Mary
Second.
Pat.
All right, I heard Mary and Greg. And all in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, anyone opposed? Sounds good. Motion has passed. Thank you. So we'll move on to agenda item 5. That's discussion of HSTP plan document. I do have a short PowerPoint here. Bear with me as I share my screen. 1 minute. All right. Okay. All right. So, as I mentioned in previous meetings, we are at Tri-County, we're working on recreating, updating the HSTP document that we had. The last one we had was from 2016. Normally we need to update it every 5 years, but IDOT asked us to hold off just a little bit because they had extra guidance for us, so they gave us that guidance, and we are back on track to updating the plan. And I'm going to start with this event that we just had last week because we got some feedback from it. So Greater Peoria Mass Transit held an ADA celebration and resource fair, and I'm also on their ADA committee, so I was part of that. We had a booth. There were several different booths of different resources throughout the Greater Peoria area. So what we did was we took, if you remember from the surveys that we distributed earlier this year to providers and riders and different types of populations, and we took the top issues that were identified, the major ones that kind of floated to the top. There are other ones besides these, and we brought them to this event, and we asked people to select from these their highest priority, what they feel is the highest issue, and they're all kind of around the same numbers, so that's not a bad thing, but it's interesting. The top one that was selected was lack of transportation options, and then the second and third were availability of paratransit, transportation connectivity between the counties, travel time, and communicating information to riders. So those were the top issues from the survey, and then narrowed down within the meeting, the event. And so the next one was transportation solutions. So we also asked how could we potentially solve these, and we took ideas from the surveys as well. And again, these numbers are very, very close, but the top 2 selected at that event were expanded services outside of town, expanded hours of operation, hire more staff to support the system, increase paratransit, and demand response service. I do recognize that we are trying hard to do some of these, for example, hire more staff, but this was, again, just an informational exercise to further identify where we need to go. So moving on to the document itself, this is the timeline that we're working towards. So we hope to have a draft document by our October meeting, and so we're starting to work through that. We do have a lot of data that we collected, including the ones that I just shared. And then after our October meeting, we'll open up a comment period, typically 30 days, and we can fix any issues that comes up that have not been solidified in the draft. So any changes we can do then, and then we would like to approve the document. And for this one, I'm going to suggest that we hold a special meeting on November 1st, and that's just moving our December meeting to November. The main reason for that is just so we can take the approval from this committee and move it on to our commission, and the way that their schedules are look like throughout the year. This would be making sure that we get it done in the most timely manner. We do have a deadline that IDOT has set for us. So that is something that I'd like to propose, moving our December meeting to November. And hopefully then if anybody is out of town in early December to get for holidays or anything like that, then we can catch them earlier. And then finally, we hope to finalize the document either by late this year, but likely early 2023, and that'll stay on our timeline. So that's just for transparency purposes, the timeline we're working towards. And I'm going to ask a couple questions here. One we can go over today if we have time, which I think we have time, and the other one we could probably think about, and I'll ask you kind of offline. So we talked about issues, and a lot of things we talk about here are issues. And so actually I would like to know, what do you think our region does well? Because that's also a part of the plan document that we highlight the successes. And I know I'm kind of putting folks on the spot here, but can you think of anything off the top of your head, either in your specific organization or kind of the collaboration among the different organizations? I can write them here. And we can come back to this as well, but go ahead. I think I heard someone start to say something. Or maybe not.
I think we do a fairly good job of sharing knowledge for other entities to avoid pitfalls.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Anything else you could think of? It could be at the meetings or outside of the meetings as well. All right. I'll leave it there for now. That's a really good one. This is actually the main goal of this committee. So I'm glad that you said that. All right, we can come back to this later or offline as well.
And this is Jody. I finally have my audio figured out on my computer.
Right.
And it kind of goes in with what the other individual said, but I think our regional transit, as well as our community, I think we do a good job collaborating.
All right. Sounds good. Any last thoughts? Okay, well, I will move on for now. And this last one is kind of a tricky one, so I'm going to leave it as kind of something to think about afterward. So IDOT has requested part of our plan document identify a list of all transportation options in the whole region. And I actually asked for clarification on this one. And I said, you mean things like churches, nursing homes, everything? And the answer was yes, as far as you can discover. So I know for this one, there's no way to really get every single option. But if you know of other organizations, any of these could be church, nursing home, senior center, medical facility, even a taxi or anything else that I haven't said that provide transportation in some way. I'm going to attempt to make a master list of this. So on the chance that if someone calls me or any one of you maybe and asks for a service that maybe you're not able to provide, maybe there's another organization in the area that potentially could help. So this is something to think about. I will add this to my email after the fact. Again, it's a little bit of a impossible task, but we will do what we can. And IDOT understands that we cannot get everyone, but it's good to just have an idea of the different types of organizations that exist out there. All right, and that is all I have for this agenda item. So let me.
Rima, for that item, are you wanting specific entities or are you just wanting us to generally categorize them?
If you can, specific entities. That's why I say it's a little bit of an impossible task.
Right. Thank you.
But yeah, that's the idea. Is if you know of a church, for example, that does this, that I probably don't know about, or a specific type of community center, maybe. Yeah. So that's food for thought. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I always forget how to do. There we go. All right. I guess I'll ask, does anyone have any questions about the document process or anything that I mentioned? All right. I will move along to my HSTP coordinator report. Not too terribly long today. So as Angel mentioned, the Washington Transit Service just started yesterday, so that is a service that's a collaboration of Greater Peoria Mass Transit, City Lift specifically, as well as Washington Township and the City of Washington. And we've gotten a few new riders that have registered, and as well the existing riders also have a chance to use it if they let Washington or GPMTV know. And so we hope that will bring us some data about who needs this service, and this is a brand new area that we're serving. It's only a 6-month trial, but we hope to understand kind of the pros and, I don't want to say pros and cons, but just understand the data to who uses it and how many people use it. So hopefully we can be able to expand it in the future. All right, that is the first thing. Next I have on my list is the Illinois Public Transit Association Conference that's coming up on September 13th to 15th. It's in O'Fallon, Illinois, which is near St. Louis. I know that I see some folks here at the conference, and it's usually a good time. Last year it was in Peoria, so we're moving further south this time. I will say I skimmed the schedule, and it's mostly on the 14th, so that's a Wednesday, with a little bit on the next day, the 15th. And their early bird rate is between $325 to $400 just to register. So that is just if you're planning on going, that's a little bit more information. And then my last thing is I will be out of the office for 2.5 weeks, just letting you all know in case you call me and I'm not here. So that's August 24th to September 10th, and we'll have my other colleagues in the office should be able to help while I'm gone. And that's all that I have for the HSTP coordinator report. And I'll move on to other. Does anyone have anything else to share? All right, to keep it a pretty short meeting. I'll give you an extra half hour of your day back. Again, if you could please think about those 2 prompts, I will email them to you as well. It would be, we would really appreciate them, so then we can highlight just the different resources we have in our region, as well as what we're already doing well, so we can do more of that. All right. One last chance. Anyone has any other? Okay, sounds good. Then we will adjourn at 12:28. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, you're gonna get a list of